Hello. Hello.
Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Alright. So I got my water here. I got my blah 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 blah. Got my water. I have my is my rigging working? No, the rigging is not working. Why is the rigging not working? I swear this thing was working mere minutes ago. Why aren't you? Open control panel. You're gonna have to excuse me, chat, as I don't fully understand. Also, I feel short in this chair. Like, what the? Alright, hang on. So, disconnect you. Connect you up again. Come on. Do I have to maybe I have to reset the service. Let me just reset it, because it seems to think the device isn't providing any frames or anything like that, which is... There we go. Alright, cool. Although, classic, it's gonna... You may be connected to a USB hub or low-powered port, which can cause hand tracking issues. No, computer. This is plugged into the exact port that it needs to be plugged into. It is plugged in fucking-rectly. Might I, garner the fucking guess? But you know what? Fuck it. Let's plug it into this one up here. Let's plug it into one that is, like, labeled blue for 3.0 instead of putting you into the 3.1. I imagine it isn't gonna be perfect, but let's see. Tracking mode was set by an outside source. Your device may be connected to a USB hub. Okay. Is that why the tracking isn't, like, perfect anymore? Like, I just have too many... Wait, does it still give me the warning? No, it's not giving me the warning anymore. Okay. No, your device just might be... It's turning off and on the warning about, like, the whatsamahoozy device might not have enough power, which is, re-fucking-diculous. 'Cause it should. It does. Like, it's plugged into the 3.0. I don't know why... Like, is there a way for me to... Is it giving the warning anymore? No, it's not giving the warning anymore, but... Nope, there it goes. It gives the warning again. So, alright. I need to now find this thing. Alright, you know what? Let me just... Hi, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Honestly, this PC, trying to do so much on it as a one PC setup, and it's not having a great time, because I'm actually running out of, like, ports to try and do the things that I want to do. Like, I want to do some fun nonsense that requires me having, like, several USB-C cables and what have you. And so, like, two of my computers have, like, USB... two of my monitors have USB hubs in them, but they're 2.1 USB hubs, not 3.1, so they won't actually push out 3.0 speeds, which is what this Leap Motion wants. This Leap Motion, for whatever reason, wants to go into, like, a full-blown, a full-size, like, 3.1, which is why I had it plugged into a 3.2 port earlier, so then that way, like, it should have had, like, a decent sort of connection, so then that way I wasn't gonna get complaints from it as I tried having it do things. Alright, let's have a look. So, alright, so it's plugged in... Okay, so it's plugged into the USB root, and then... Port 6, USB 3.2 Gen 1 hub. There is no USB 3.2 Gen 1 hub on my computer, as far as I know. 'Cause... Okay, weird. Alright, so there's a 2.1 hub, so this one is holding on to the Xbox controller, it's got an iPhone connected to it, and it's got the Lehman key for, tracking of the keyboard and mouse when I need to do it, and then it's got a microchip hub? Yeah, that's obviously the hub trying to control it. Alright, so why is the leap motion device properties? Hang on a second. Events, drivers, change settings. I'm gonna see if I can make it so that the computer can't turn... Because there is a way to be like, do not turn off power to the hub. Like, that is a thing. It doesn't normally like you doing that because it doesn't have it as, like, you know, a generic tick and what have you. So, alright, change settings, power management. Allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. No. This is a hub that is holding on to way too much shit. Where is this 3.2 hub? Because I don't have it plugged in directly. There shouldn't be one. Like, oh my god, this is such a painful, like, display to look at, because I've got so hang on a second. Let me just collapse all these things. So, on my AMD graphics card, I have I have 3 different USB, like, 3.0 hubs at the motherboard. So, I have one that should be at the front, so, like, that's plugged into the front I/O. And it looks like that one has... Yeah, that one has about 10 ports to it. And this is the front I/O, might I remind you. For whatever reason, the front I/O, capable of holding on to, like, 10 USB ports right now, has, like, 2 USB-A and a USB-C at the front. And then I have, like, an extra, like, I have, like, a thingy-majiggy plugged into the inside to, like, grab other shit, because in that one, it has okay, let me have a look. So a USB 3.2 Gen 1 hub, which is holding the Valve Eltron 3D cam. Okay, so that's a driver nonsense. And then I've got this generic 2.0 port, which is holding on to my Corsair shit, and one of them being the CPU, the RAM memory. That's fine. How do I have so many ports? And then this 2.0, yep, so that 2.0 is because of the Valve Index plugged in, because it has to have all the radio nonsense. And then a Realtek semiconductor 4-point, which is holding on to this Elgato Stream Deck XL. But this is plugged into this monitor on my left here. Ow! Also, why is my... Oh, hang on a second. There's a few things that are not, like, turned on right now. Hang on a second. I am going to need to fix some things for you. Set actions and redeems to VTuber. Here we go. Simulate... wait, no. Cancel. Test trigger. Alright, that should re-enable a number of the rewards and everything, so because I'm back to, you know, 3D VTuber and what have you, rather than sticking to the 2D PNG tuber. I think with Dragon Age, I'm going to be the 2D PNG tuber, and then anything on the consoles, I can stick to being 3D and what have you, which is great. So yeah, forgive me. I am having a very, like, this is probably, like, one of those weird, like, moments you're watching me and you're like, what the fuck is the Zeebs talking about? Let me get you a screenshot of, what it is that I'm doing. Or, hang on a second, let me just go, vroom, vroom. Okay, is the leap motion gonna complain to me? No, the leap motion doesn't look like it's complaining to me again, which is fine. It just has a very limiting sort of... Interesting. Okay, once in a while, it just decides... Also, honestly, leap motion, you're kind of losing your worth with me. You do not see me. I am invisible. Who said that? What invisible person said those things in my chat? Honestly, leap motion, you make me work so fucking hard. Also, if you're wondering what it is that so this is what I was looking through, is like this USB thingy-majiggy. So as you can see, I've got like 3 different USB 3.0 controllers sitting in my motherboard. There should be 2 that are, so there's like one big one. Actually, no. Ooh, hang on a second. All right, so that Logitech receiver is a USB. That Astro. So yeah, so this one here, this USB hub 3.1, that is the... That one should be the... So, like, from here down to port 5, it should be a, whatsamahoozy? It should be, like, it should be, like, the case? But then, meanwhile, this one here... Why is it talking about the audio of the... You know what? I might disconnect that old webcam. But I still need it if I work from home and I need to present... Because I have one webcam that, you know... Actually, let me show you this webcam. I got it... So, the reason why I'm having all this, like, troubleshooting nonsense because of, like, you know, this USB thingy-majiggy right here is because I have run out of USB, ports and what have you. I would very much like USB-C, like, ports going from, like, you know, the computer to the monitors or to the webcam that I have. But the thing is I only have, like, one USB-C in the back and one USB-C at the front. So I need to get myself a hub. However, the hub that I previously purchased was not actually a USB-C 3.1 hub. It was like a USB 2.1 hub. And I was like, right, I'm going to get a return on this. I purchased you, granted you were fucking cheap, I purchased you because you were supposed to be a USB bridge that was at least version 3.1. Similar to how, like, you know, the front here. I don't know where this 3.2 is coming from, which is this fucking annoys me. This USB 3.2 Gen 1 hub. I don't have a hub plugged in that should be this, you know, Generation 1 hub. And it's telling me I've got, like, 5 spare ports. Where the fuck are they? Ow. So, yeah, this thing, it doesn't give me, like, a nice little visual of, like, oh, these are the front of the computer, these are at the back of the computer. Like, for all I know, this could be from an internal thingamajiggy. This is plugged in directly, and then that's a hub that's... Like, honestly, this is... Also, hi there, Atomica, welcome to the stream. I'm troubleshooting my computer. It tells me I have so many more ports, but for the life of me... I don't see it. I don't see those ports. So, yeah. Gonna close that window. But yeah, check this out, chat. Because I have, like, one really long cable for USB-C, I was able to get this working again. Ta-da! Internal ports. Maybe they're internal ports. That would be annoying. Especially if there's a hub that's like 3.1 and like... Would that be because of the PCIe? No, that wouldn't be because of the PCIe. But yeah, I have this camera working again. So I'm wearing socks as well because, you know, blah, 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 blah. Because I didn't want to, like, show feet on chat again. Like, that shit's expensive. If I'm gonna show bare feet, I'm gonna need, like, a lot of subs and shit. Oh, actually, okay, I'm gonna need to bring in a prop, okay? Hang on a second, I'm gonna need to bring in a prop. Here they are. Here they are. New shoes! Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure I've made this so that up to a point... Please don't pan up. Alright, cool. So about here is my limit of, like, you know, moving back while seated and what have you. And then I slip this guy on. Okay, I need to jump. Wah! New sneakers. Finally, I got a pair of sneakers that fit me. No, it ain't a butt cam. Ain't gonna be a butt cam. That is gonna cost money. Do they fit okay? Yes, they do. They actually do fit okay. I went into the, hang on a second, let me just raise this microphone up so it sounds a little bit better. Ow. old Grant with the New Balance. Yes, exactly, with the New Balance. Excuse me that I'm not, like, tying them up or anything like that, because I'm not going to wear them all the time. I'm for this stream. But, is that the shoes that you got? So, these are the shoes that I got today. Because I went into like Athlete's Foot back on Thursday night, late night shopping, and it was like, righto, I'm gonna get my feet measured. And because it was like the end of the day of like, sitting most of that day and what have you, feet were more likely to have been swollen, which meant like, the measurement would be more accurate for like shoes that I would need to get for like, all day that weren't going to be painful at the end. So I went for the measurements. Turns out I wasn't a size 10. My feet were being seen as like a size like 8.5 or something. And I had really high arches. Like, so the arch is like the thingy-majiggy from like, the curve. The curve of like the top of your foot was a lot higher. So I went and got myself a different pair of shoes that were quite like size 9, because the guy was like, okay, you're 8.5, but let's get you into size 9 so that there's a little more wiggle room. There wasn't that much wiggle room. I went with like a pair of like Shoei or Soshi or whatever the fuck it's called, and that did not work out because I like sitting like on a bus for like 15 minutes, my toe felt like it was like kind of getting squished in, getting narrower. And then I was like, okay, I don't like that one bit. So I had my shoes off for like, because I didn't work in the office on Friday, so I didn't have to wear shoes. But Saturday I had to wear shoes. And so Saturday was unpleasant. Sunday wore no shoes. And I was like, right, I'm gonna return these. And Monday, I didn't have to work today. So I went over there and I was just sort of like, well, bam, I need different shoes. So I got different shoes. I got these New Balances because turns out, even though I was still, like, they measured me in the morning, I'm still, like, size 8.5. Like, my left foot slightly bigger than my right foot. That's to be, that's to be assumed. The arch on my right foot is higher than the arch on my left foot, and apparently I was, like, rolling my right side. So most of the stuff I learned from Thursday was the same sort of stuff I learned today. However, I told them the size 9 didn't feel great. I needed something with, like, a larger toe box and was, going to be helpful with, like, the arch on the right foot. And so they got me these pairs. Yeah. So, because, yeah, I don't know, like, New Balance just has a better, like, toe box. It doesn't feel like my toes are, like, squishing into one another and what have you, so, yeah. So these are going to be my new all-day wear, and these ones were cheaper. They didn't cost me, like $270. They cost me like $230. So I saved myself 40 bucks. So I went and did I purchase anything with them? No, I didn't purchase anything with them. Did I get a refund? Yeah, so the shoes that I previously purchased were more expensive than these ones, so I handed those in as a return. Bro got that new Balance. Yeah, they did. These New Balance. Actually, Kahlua, I'll need to show you, because I am more comfortable showing you my feet than the rest of chat. I will need to show you what, like, weirdly enough, Athlete's Foot has this machine. You go into it barefoot, dogs out. You take the shoes, you take the socks off, you roll. If you're wearing pants, you gotta roll up these things so they don't get in the way. And you go through this machine, it scans your feet and what have you, and then you just do a quick, short walk. It's like, 3 to 4 steps, depending on your gait. That information is not saved on your customer profile. Apparently, Australia's, like, privacy laws for consumers means that, oh yeah, like the business can scan your feet and all this kind of shit, but they can't retain that information if you ask them to put it onto your account or anything like that. Not a thing. Insane. No, exactly. And here's the problem, is that when you're on that fucking, like, when you use that fucking machine, like, it's not like some fucking simple, like, look at it, it's a fucking 3D scan. Oh, wait, hang on. It's a 3D scan with like all kinds of stats on the side. Nope, that shows my real name. I can't show you that. It will show you things such as the... Thank you for the... It'll show you like important stats such as the such as like the toe length, like how like the ball width, your arch height. My arch height for both my left and right foot is higher than normal, like so much higher than normal. So I'll need to share those images with you, Kaluas, just so that way the next time I go to any of the furries that have fucking drip, because amazingly enough, hang on a sec, I need to be quick. Whoop! There we go. I didn't want to show my face or anything like that. I was kind of worried. I'm going to put these shoes back. So, yeah. Yeah. This camera, USB-C, which means I can move it somewhere else if I have a long enough cable. Quick, take this. Oh, he's back. An optometrist Specsavers can save how blind I am, but people aren't allowed to retain how I walk. Yes. Yeah, apparently, like, for some reason, they like, I think the reason why they don't, like, they can collect the information, but they can't, like, store it in a fashion, thank you for the ease, they can't store it in a fashion where, let me move my camera just a little bit back. They can't store it in a fashion where it's accessible to you again, because I think the concern is like, oh, if someone makes another account with your mobile phone or something like that, or they get into your account, there's like, it's like they have to be extra secure about their information, which means they'd have to like include other things. I don't know. I didn't go into it because Australia's privacy laws are, you know, I'm gonna be real with you, they're kind of intense. Some, like, compared to, like, in the United States. The United States will just fucking barrel roll through you and just be like, not... Did you ever, like, share this on Twitter one day? It's ours forever. Makes sense. So, like, if they were to retain it, it has to be super secure. Yes, exactly. So, yeah. But no, Actually, I have you on Telegram. That's right, chat. I have Telegram. Sometimes I communicate outside of streaming or IRL. I just am a fucking introvert, and it takes so much fucking energy to ever do anything. Where in the world? I swear I talked to you earlier. This is the problem with your name, is that, like, for whatever reason, I feel like you're no longer, like, Kahlua in my... Yeah, that's why. I have to put in, like, 2, like, parentheses a piece. Alrighty. Ding, dong, bang. Oop. Ding, ding, ding. So, yeah. So... Anywhoosies, let me turn off that camera. You don't need that. I don't need to show my dogs out on the wild for use and everything like that. Instead, also stop that music and harvest this. Actually, you know what? Now I feel like I'm too high. There we go. That's a bit better. All right. Okay, I don't get more of those 9 cats, but that's okay. I don't need too many of them. But yeah, can we get a shout out for Kahlua, please? Kahlua has been getting back into streaming, and they have been having quite a bit of fun. And I hope they continue having fun. Mount Kuago. Mantis catching swamp. Meep Meepy. Hi. Are you an imposter? Because I know of a Meeps. And Meep Meepy is... Oh my god, your character is so shredded. Cool, so you're not the Meeps. Righto. But yeah, no, thank you. This was created by What Insomnia. I can get even bigger, by the by. Imposter? Look, it's just because your name, Meep Meepy, sounds eerily similar to another user that is a bit of a regular in this chat, who is actually here since the start, named Meeps. There's a lot of meeping in here right now. Meep. Right? Read book. Meep. Read book. Read book. Alrighty, so apparently there is, so we need to find like a cloud or something like that. I had to do a bit of Googling to figure out like what the what the fuck I'm doing in this area. Cookie for Kahlua! Here's your cookie, Kahlua. Ah! How fucking dare you, sir? Oh, what the? Cookie for Jason! Alright, so yeah, I learned a few things. Alright, so that bug guy I can't get to properly. But this area is fucking huge. Which is why they give you, like, this Nimbus cloud. Thank you for the follow. Oh, meep. Meep meepy. Thank you for the follow, meep. Is it fine to be meep or meep meepy? You're from Aussie too? Despite this accent, yes. Despite this accent, I am an Australian. However you want, I don't mind. Alright, understandable. Alrighty. Okay, nope, can't get there. So, where the fuck is it? So, there's a number of, like, different quote-unquote bosses you can fight and such. And one of them is in, like, a cloud or something. They were, like, near a gold... There's, like, several, like, things to, like, collect here. Because this is the final chapter. And at the final chapter, you can do, like, you know, Wukong shit. Alrighty. Just trying to think... Because I don't see a fog or anything. And apparently you can get, like, the different pieces of Wukong's armor in this area, like, the mythic stuff. And I have not yet seen it. Oh! Water curtain cave. Did they finally decide to give me a fucking waterfall that's like, oh, you walk through it and you get something instead of, you know, activating some weird chakra thingamadoogs? Have I done the beetle yet? So, are you talking about the... Hang on. Are you talking about, like, the beetle thing from, like, chapter 2? Or are you talking about the beetle grasshopper thing? Because I've done I've done one of two checks. The second check is, like, I'm getting burned alive or some shit, so not really working out for me. But I think I need to use, like, the fire curtain cloak thing, so then that way I don't get as much hit. Nope, he's in this map. Okay, then. So you're talking... Yeah, you're talking about the grasshopper thingamadoog. Pretty sure it's a grasshopper. Oh. Oh, I think I know what this is. Okay, so, it was, like, Sarcastically Serious or something like that. There's a YouTube channel called, like, Sarcastically Serious or something like that. And then, blah, 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 blah. And they talked about how, like, Wukong got all his stuff. And apparently, the thing from, like, his staff isn't just... Like, the reason why it's a magical staff is because it's, like, a 10-kilometer tall staff or some bullshit. and he swings it around. It's still the weight of a 10-kilometer staff or some shit, but he's able to like shrink it freely and all this nonsense, so it does like all kinds of bullshit. Which is this thing. No, oh, there looks like there's a throne there or some shit. Hello? Can I use this? Hello? Wait. He was in, like, the mountains or something behind a waterfall. Is this it? So have the books arrived yet? Yes, they have. Yes, the Warhammer 40k Horus Rising, sorry, not Horus Rising, the Horus Heresy books, they have arrived. I've got 2 of them right now, and I'm just needing to read through book 2. Also, how the fuck am I supposed to... Like, this is mine. Please. It's a giant, like, granted, it's a giant fucking, thing, but I would love to have it, please. You cannot ascend with the summer... Like, why can't I... Maybe I need to go back... Maybe I need to go back to it once I've, completed the, other pieces. Because maybe it's because I'm not wearing... Actually, is it because I'm not wearing Wukong's gear? Okay, so that's the Pilgrim's Head Mask. Golgui's. No, okay, so I need Wukong's bracers and head. I think you need the other parts of the armor first. Understandable. Also, Meep Meep. I've put in a little tag for the no backseating, please. I do appreciate all the advice I send, you know, just questions and such like that. But if you could, you know, you haven't hit that yet, quite honest. You haven't hit it yet, but, you know, just be... What's the word I'm looking for? Be conservative? Be... Restraint. Yeah, practice restraint. Alright. Is there a problem if I fall into this water? No, there isn't. A little bit of damage, but not the end of the world. Alrighty. Sure, sorry. Not to worry. Alright, like I said, So yeah, because the first thing you were talking about, like, I already was aware of and what have you. The second thing is, like, you know, it's helpful, so I'm not running around that cave, like, trying to do whatevers. Alright. So, we need to get to the grasshopper thing, and we need to go through... Because maybe I need to go through the grasshopper thing before, like, the next piece of the puzzle opens up. Because I was told that, like, that area there with the golden tree was meant to be a, It was meant to have, like, a, like, mist over it and things. It wasn't meant to... It wasn't, like, you know, going to be empty and what have you. Also, where the fuck is that grasshopper? Wait, is that it? No, that was just a giant fucking rock. Alright, so where it... Is he just standing where I last left him, perhaps? Alright, let's get some altitude. Let's see. Because he hops around is the thing. Like, you got 2 trials you need to go through. You've got a, you got a stamina trial and a health trial. And the stamina trial is the first one. And I've completed that, like, once or twice. Where the fuck has he gone? Honestly, how can I lose sight of a giant fucking, Oh, if you're wondering, like, why the walking pad, throne item, it's because I've been trying to lose weight. I have hit 130 kilograms, this morning. I am now the lightest I have been all year. But that's still too heavy for the height that I am IRL, and the amount of body fat that I have, it's still too heavy. So I need to try and find ways to lose weight, and I don't like going out. There is the grasshopper. Oh, he's gonna jump again. There he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. Alright. I need to get to him before he does another jump. So, I like the idea of a walking pad, because I can get behind the whole, like, you know, walking. I can get behind the whole walking, jogging nonsense, but I don't like going outside, especially if I have to dress to go outside and what have you. So, by getting a walking pad, I'm able to do the exercise at home. If I do, and when I do get this walking pad, I am going to do a sort of, like, stream, sub-marathon thing. Please stop jumping. Okay, there we go. Oh, fuck off! Pain? I thought this was, like, the last place he had to be. God damn it. Alright, now I have to rest. A walking pad is handy? Yeah, I'm glad you think so. So, the idea is that, we get the walking pad. I will then do a marathon stream, and it's gonna be like a subathon as well, where, you know, there's gonna be the base, like, because I can do this in, like, you know, about 30 minutes or so, there is going to be a 3 to 5 kilometer walk. I haven't decided whether it's going to be 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers. 3 kilometers at the minimum, because I know I can do those, but I feel like maybe doing 5 kilometers might be better, because then that way I go on for longer, but there's going to be stream incentives. So, you know, for instance, the fact that, like, this camera is here means that, you know, once we hit a certain sub, like, for every sub or however many bits I get, I will extend the amount of walking that I have to do. This webcam will turn on. I might adjust the position. I'll, like, put on my partial fursuit. By the by, I have a fursuit. And, you know, all kinds of different things. But all that requires, as, you know, you're no doubt aware, it requires me to have the walking pad. Alrighty. Knowing the grasshopper, he is gonna be... So he's not back there anymore. Is that him over there? No, those are just trees. Alright. Ah, there he is. And then he leaps down there. Alrighty, hopefully I can get there before he leaps again. Alright, clutch. We hold on. So we hold on this time until, like, you know, I actually have to stop. There we go. So, 1. 2. 3. Come on, let me do the... There we go. And then we clutch. So yeah, because I put on the fire-resistant thingy-majiggy, because apparently this thing, like, burns you. So by putting on the fire thing, I shouldn't get as much damage, or actually any damage from the looks of it. So, this is a cheap one.
Tabitha Fox paid me to
Oh!
say Monkee Monday, my dudes.
Nice!
It's gonna get bananas in here real fast and real intense.
Hi there, Tabitha. Thank you for the TTS spot. Welcome, welcome. Hey! Headgear! Nice! Hi there, Bijou.
Splendid! With these silly strands, you're all the more like Wukong. Just don't prance around with your might as he did. That monkey's got a stash of treasures. I'll scout around some more.
Go. Alrighty. Alright, so I got the headgear, the body, and the leggings. The gold fang tail crown. Splendid! Splendid! Alrighty. So I've already gone through this area. Ah, there we go. Look, mist! Alright. We're gonna see if that mist leads us anywhere. Also, hi, Sir Dragon. Thank you for checking your himbo rating. Dun dun. I hope you're doing A-okay. So yeah, so now there's a mist. There we go. Alright. Never mind the fact that there's a bit of a, you know, lag. Bijou, what you doing? Oh. That mantis had knives.
It's in me! It's in me!
Ah!
It hurts! Ouch! Kid! Help me out here! This is a tough swallow!
Please don't die. Oh, nope. Instead, you turn me into a fly. Again. Oh. What is with this game and Vor? This is not the first time we've been Vored. The Emerald Armed Mantis. Oh, there's a phase 2, isn't there? I shouldn't have used my duplicate so soon. You're just missing the weapons and the gloves? Yeah, so I think this guy, if I defeat him, I'll get the gloves. Let me lower the volume. So I just need a... So that's his stage 2. And I already used my duplicates like an idiot. Oh, you... Oh, that was a big hit. Not great. Can we try that again, please? Would be nice. I promise not to use my duplicates so soon, because they were a waste.
Thank you, Too Damn Dapper, for the tier 1 gift sub to Ian Yoshi.
Thank you, Too Damn Dapper, for the gifted sub. Wait, why didn't that do a thing? Oh, it didn't have a sub from a large green bat. Thank you so much, Too Damn Dapper. It didn't do the thingy. It didn't do the thingy. Hang on a sec. Why didn't it do the thingy? I got myself a new emote. Or not an emote, sorry. I got myself a new Alright, at least okay, so there we go. So at least one community gifted sub. Alright, so I need to go to the image gallery. And there we go. And then at least, so save those changes. So, alright, that needs to be not 50%, but 60%. Save the changes. Library. Add to alert. 60. Save. Ding dong. So the anonymous, at least one community, at least one. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's try that again. There we go! Look at that! So that's the new, what's-a-mahoozy. It's a nice little gif of me getting a gift. Voynich was responsible for that one. Voynich did an amazing job. That's fun. Thank you. So, yeah, I think it was fairly good. Part of me feels like no, it doesn't need to be cropped or anything like that. It just needs to be, like, moved higher up the window, because I have it where it's a width of like 800 by a height of 600. I think I might need to, like, I'll do adjustments and what have you when I have the time and the money for it. Because I want to do an overlay change with my streams and what have you. There's a lot of things I want to do. Overlay streams, new models, new tracking, new all kinds of stuff. But the very least that I want to do is the one I want to focus on, and I'm gonna like talk about all the time, is the one involving my throne, the featured item. Check out my throne. If we're able to get that walking pad, I can then get started the like most likely will be next month, or sorry, next year. Ow. Fuck you, Mantis. There we go. All right. So, still used up a lot of resources to get to here. Alrighty. Here we go. Phase 2, and he's got the bloody Mantis blades now. Yeah, thank you so much to Damn Dapper. You've always been so considerate to the community. I really appreciate all the gift subs you do. Yeah! Yeah, the monkey posse! God, I wish I still had access to that infinite mana glitch, so then that way I could just keep summoning all the duplicates. But I feel like even if it was available, then there would be the problem of, oh, hey, there we go. There's me with the gauntlets. And he's about to regurgitate me. There we go. New gauntlet. You'll be back soon. Dinner is ready. Not to worries. I already had dinner. I'm still on the shakes diet for a little while longer.
My belly's not too vile, is it? I'm not a meat eater after all. I hope it didn't repulse you. Well, you fetched it. It wasn't all that bad, eh? Now that Wukong's armor set is complete, we should go to Water Curtain Cave. Come with me.
Nice. All right, cool. So we now we can do the water. Now we can do what Meep was mentioning earlier about heading to, like, you know, we needed all this shit in order to. There we go. We got ourselves a golden tree core. All right, I'm gonna use this. Rest. There we go. All right. Up and away. Okay, we need to go, I think it was, yeah, we need to go back up here, and then we needed to hang a left. Because then we'd be able to get, like, the awesome, there we go. You'll be back soon. But yeah. So, yeah, now we can do what Meat mentioned, which is get the, arm, like the staff, sorry, now that we've got all of Wukong's armor on us. Actually, what is Wukong's armor like? Ding. So, for a short time after casting a spell, moderately increases the critical hit chance. Ooh, that's nice. So this gives us maximum mana and defense. This one gives us maximum health and defense. This one gives us maximum... This one gives us the crit chance of 4%. Oh, nice. So we're doing like 20%. For a short duration after casting a spell... No, we already heard that. And then this one gives us stamina. Okay, so how in the world do we have, quote-unquote, 5 pieces then? Like, we've got... Hang on a second. Jump. We've got head, arms, body, legs. That's 4, though. Oh, would the staff make 5? Is that what the staff is going to do for us? Is it going to make it so that there's, like, 5, what's-a-mahoozy, 5 piece, like, it's going to be a 5-piece set once we have the staff. So, there's the staff. Go. It's pretty fucking cool looking. I remember how, in Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, but original Dragon Ball, Son Goku had the thank you for the hyper himbo, too damn dapper, I really appreciate it. Son Goku had, he had Kaioken, which, you know, Kaioken Extend would let him do this thing. And it's, like, reason for, like, some of the myths, such as, like, why there's a rabbit on the moon making cheese. I think it's cheese or something. I'm guessing that's Wukong's throne. Is that what you wanted to do, Bijou?
You come from? Outsider. In my realm, all monkeys are of similar face and shape. Your face speaks of a different breed, and an ugly one. You must be a Yaogwai from another land.
Is that how you first met him in the cave? And he was just like, oh, you look like an ugly monkey. Interesting. Were they friends, I wonder?
I've never ventured here since that journey. Nothing's changed after so many years. He said this and told me to kneel. Right here on this seat.
Hi there, War Horse. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, totally a mistake. What, this? The hyper himboism? I like it. I never say no to it. What's more is I love the PNG that I have for it. It's very tempting to go to What Insomnia again for an even himboier version of this, but I don't know how he would be able to accomplish a himboier version of this, so it more likely would be something in between the base form that he has and then this one. But yeah. Nice! We now have the magical staff. That's pretty dang himbo. Thank you. I like my himbo Zeebs, quite frankly. I've had him for, like, probably close to 10 years now? Maybe more? I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, when I first concocted of GrantZeebs. Oh. Oh, what's it? Anything? Oh. Trying to lift up fucking, like, you know, thousands of tons because it is a 10-kilometer tall hole that's just shrunk down. Nice! Oh, hey, a new path! But there's one more person I need to defeat in this area that I've recently learned is who I need to go up against.
Once you have this, there's no turning back. Now, you look exactly like Wukong. You're all set, kid. You look like a fierce warrior. Come with me. Let's find out what that old monkey is up to.
Before we do, there's actually like a giant Jingubong. That piece of iron, one stroke proves deadly. While a light tap proves fatal, the slightest touch cracks the skin, a small rap cripples the muscle. Nice. Before we go any further... Hey, my, okay, you can't see it because I'm in the way, but, hang on. Let me just disappear real quick. One of the reasons why I want to, like, get a, like, new layout is so then that way you don't miss, like, details like this. In the bottom right corner, the body thing that's supposed to, like, show what my stances are meant to be when I go, like, up, down, like, up, left, or right, it no longer does anything. It's in the one form. Oh, no longer Hyper Himbo, I'm sorry to say. I can be Hyper Himbo for longer with 69 bits. Alright. Just really quickly put this face on. Won't let me somersault from... Oh, okay, hang on a sec. Maybe it's a... I'll keep this. Upon critical hit, slightly reduces cooldown of all spells. Oh, that's pretty cool. Alright. I just need to get out of this water. I need to get, like... Because there's, like, there's one more thing I need to defeat that will actually give me something. And it's, like, over this ways. And I was so, like, you know, confused by it. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking huge. Turns out there is a trick to it. Also, am I... Oh, yeah, I went left too soon. It's down this way. Ish. Yeah. Here we go. Wait, what? Why is it... What? Where the fuck is it? There was like a... Okay, maybe... Yeah, maybe it's... Yeah, it's down this way. I think. I think it's down this way. Should be. Hi there, Jack. Welcome to the stream. Good news. I now have, like, the entire Wukong, outfit and staff. And I'm going up against that dude. A giant Shingadong. Very classy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Alrighty. So, apparently, the trick to this guy isn't that we have to, like, you know, go up against... Like, we don't have to go, like, right up to his torso or anything like that. All we need to do is, like, you know, dodge the punches, dodge the shockwaves. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ow. Alright, I know that doesn't sound very confident right now, but... Alrighty, come on. Because he's got, like, crystals in his fist or something like that? And I need to dodge... Yep. I need to dodge that fist. Oh. Okay, cool. I can just jump. And then... Granted, I can't see anything because of the fucking god rays. Come on, show me your fists. Alright, so see how he has like the little... So, those blue crystals, there we go. Nice! Oh, that is so impressive. Ow. Oh, Of course he was gonna fall on top of me! He was actually dead! He was actually doing like a fucking death swing and shit. Of course he was gonna fall on top of me. You're at home, by the way? You said fuck it to work? Nice! Fuck it. Fuck it all. We got a long trip ahead of us. But yeah, I have Je technique. We just need to go up this way. But yeah, I hope you're all damn pleased. Look at him. Look at our Wukong. Look at him. So pristine. So simple and clean. But yeah, how has your day been being at home? I spend my day just doing, you know, random chores and business that I couldn't do on the weekend, such as going to Athlete's Foot and exchanging my size 9 shoes for a better fitting size 9.5. Alrighty, here we go. Alright, so this guy is going to do a roar. And I need to try and get close to him, but not so close that his fists are going to be a problem. There we go. You're just watching Arcane and getting some games finished. Nice! I actually went through the first 3 episodes of Arcane Season 2. And I have some thoughts. I don't want to speak them right now, because, like, you know, some people haven't, like, watched Arcane season 2, like the first 3 episodes yet. So I want to like sort of leave it to. All right, hang on. Here we go, and that's 1. Alright, hopefully this is close. There we go. Alright, so this is about as close as I can get. Ow, fuck you. Oof. He just graced me. Come on. Let's... Come on, show me your fists. Let me just punch the crystals off your fists, please. Alrighty. Yum. Not close enough. Oh, okay. This is the part where I now start running. Ow. Run, 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 run! Phew. I didn't die. Okay, we can't jump up that, so it looks like I gotta do the normal thingamadoogies. Oh, hey, it's the monkey? Yeah, it's a monkey. Or, no, it's a baboon. It's Rafiki. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh! Would you like me to get into the VC so you can spill those thoughts on me later? I don't really think when I watch these. Yeah, we can talk in the VC later. Hi. Yes, I saw you do that. Your hair is going all over the place, Rafiki. Oh. Thank you? That's a really big eyeball, I'm gonna be real with you. Strange, motherfucker. Ah! Oh, please don't tell me there's a phase 2 now. No, instead he just changes his entire being. Cool. The Skanda of Consciousness. Alright, is there anything else here? No. Doesn't look like it. No. Alright, doesn't look like there is. Cannot use this item in this state. Okay. Alright, gonna use that. There we go. The herbs and fungi you gathered along the mountain paths are all essential medicine ingredients. Certain medicine necessitates a formula to be made, a secret that may reveal itself through your exploration. Nice! I actually was able to find all the seeds, which was actually very helpful. So, that went well. That will do well. Alrighty. Ding. Dong. Oh, hello. Let me just pick these up because... Yeah, that motherfucker only wants to grow, like, one at a time, which is really annoying. Which means I don't get to grab, like, a lot of them all at once. Alrighty, Jew Dog.
Self-refinement is the way to make golden pills.
I have 5 Scandas.
5 scanders about abstract notions. Yet you have made them tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Might I be permitted to make something with them?
Uh-huh.
Uncover the secrets of sky and earth, and thou shalt have pills.
Nice.
A wondrous marvel of the universe.
Thank you. A lesser celestial medicine made to increase multiple attributes. Nice. Increasing my...
Mine eyes doth see the dell from the confines of my pills are reliable, but be wiser than relying solely on them.
So close to maxing out that defense.
Yin and yang, 5 elements from without to craft pills.
There we go. Gives me a bit more defense.
No shame in taking the pills. More
Ooh. Insufficient material for the shake staff. No. The gauge of the 4th point no longer depletes over time. Nice! That's cool. Alright, reignite spark. Alright, here we go. So, let's have a look. So we've already done a whole ton of stamina nonsense. We need another one to increase our attack. This one increases our maximum health, which I'm gonna be real with you is a bit of a waste. So we're gonna max that. And then, what's this one? Increases focus gain from perfect dodges. I actually have been able to do perfect dodges fairly well. What's this one? Exempts all stamina cost of a short duration after seeing through the enemy in a tactical retreat. I have not been perfect with that, so... Each talent level slightly extends the duration of the cloud step. I feel like Spellbinder might be a good one for like boss battles, but I'm not certain yet. This one I fully awakened, which is good. Reduces the might decay, increases might recovery, increases maximum might. I'm gonna increase the maximum might at the very least. And then yeah, I'll stick to these options. Oh wait, hang on. Dink. Travel back to the mountain, head back to the mantis catching swamp, and then we go back through the waterfall. We keep on following Bijou, And we should be able to get to probably the end. I don't know why. I imagine we're close to the end, because we did all this, like, you know, jumping around in this area here with the cloud. And we're about to go into some place that won't let us use... I don't know how... I shouldn't be making predictions of how close to the end of the chapter I am, because normally this takes like 3 or 4 streams a chapter. I've never been perfect. Alrighty, ding. And then fly up. There we go. Alright, time to sprint. Oh, Bijou. That's why I heard, like, something appearing behind me. Yeah. And then... down through here. And now we have to go past this peach tree. I'm pretty sure that tree was a peach tree. With all, like... yeah, pretty sure it was peaches. Alrighty. Wait. Could I get a peach? Please. No, it looks like the peaches have, like, spoiled. That's not great. Oh, there was a... oh, we could have... could have offered our incense here, and then we could have teleported back for the cool-ass what's-mahoozy guy. Alright. Easy pickings. There we go. Oh, is there another one? No, you were just busy, I see. Alright. Yeah, he's having his fun with it, doing his combos. Oop. Yep, so he's catching up. He's keeping up with me. As we go up this mountain, dealing with more and more adversaries. Oh, thank you. dare you, Ko the Yoshi? How dare you fart in my channel? Hi there, welcome to the stream. I heard you arrive before you said you arrive. There is a great wind from the south. Also, look at me, I'm Sun Wukong. I have all the cool stuff on him. I've got like Wukong's helmet, chest, bracers, and feet, and now his weapon. Drippy A fucking F. Look at all these people trying to deal with Wukong. And I imagine, do you have his undies? I don't think so. I don't think monkeys wear undies. Also, where the fuck am I going? Ah, this way. It's just the god rays and like smoke very much confuse my direction. Oh, nope. Okay. I thought it was gonna, you know, bamboozle me with like a secret thingamadig, but it didn't. So I don't know. So I think we're going to whoever is the boss of this mountain region, and then it honestly might make a reference to Wukong or like maybe one of his reflections, but I was of the thought that we were a reflection of Sun Wukong. Like, I thought we were a random strand that was, like, alive all this time. Alright, go in. Here we go. Fucking glorious. Question is, where's Bijou? I think we're approaching the heavens, hence... Alright, I'm gonna need to put on my shades. Sorry, chat. Can't see fucking shit. Bam. Boom. There we go. That way I won't get flashbanged. Thank you for the shout out to Ko the Yoshi. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully they're having a wonderful time in Resident Evil. Are you still going through the original Resident Evil right now, or have you moved on to the remake? Ba 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 ba. Wait, is this just taking me back to where I started? Like, wasn't I... Isn't there like a story of like Wukong under a boulder or some shit? And I was a monkey that was, like, beside this boulder, and then I fucked off and did my own journey, and I ended up at, like, the Black Bear Mountain or something like that? Peak of Innocence. Oh, yes, because me, GrantZeebs, I deserve to be up there. I am a epitome of the peak of innocence. Yeah! I swear I was.
Find him here, but I don't see a trace of him. He's nothing but a...
Oh. Hello. You'll finish Separate Ways for the classic tomorrow, then you'll do the remake. Ah, okay. Nice. Okay, so this must be a secret area, is it? Oh. Hello. I don't...
You're here.
Hi.
We're here.
Step aboard.
Hey, old monkey. I hope this isn't a one-way trip, is it?
Isn't all life a one-way trip? Once you embark on the journey, there's no turning back.
What is this place?
His memories.
Okay. Oh, so kind of like the secret areas we've been going through, where it's like this really strong emotions and these like pocket dimensions of like an event.
Early days, he'd had an eye for the finer things, and a will to wrest them from others. Laying his eyes on, then craving to seize their riches. No better than the black bear and ginger, I say.
You can't have an eye for the finer things, while the Buddha oversees the three realms? Well, I hardly think that's fair.
Uh-huh.
How insatiable. Not content with his kingdom and title below, he asked for a position in the celestial court. But soon after his wish was granted, his joy turned to rage, all because he wasn't invited to a feast. He nearly ruined the entire celestial palace. Ears fume at unfavorable news. As untamed and ungrateful as that yellow rat. Beasts are beasts, don't you think?
He was young. He didn't know any better. Hadn't learned from the Buddha or our master yet. Aren't you being a bit harsh? Dredging up the scandals from his youth?
Like his adulthood was any better.
Huh.
Since his release, he had claimed to have learned manners and discipline. Yet his weak Frankenchurch gave him away. Posing as an idol, he degraded the gods. Clear was his defiance of the doctrines he had learned.
Well, he was just being naughty. Aren't all great achievers somewhat self-obsessed? Myself included.
Nose in the air, feeling above others.
Is this Monkee Wukong?
I say he was no less insolent than that yellow-browed brat.
Wait, isn't it that lady of some sort? It was her tricks that made Master drive Wukong away.
On White Tiger Ridge, he forsook his love. 3 times he broke her into pieces, convincing himself his heart would ache no more. Yet, as you must know, he had never let go of her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so eager to get away from the Buddhahood he attained. Those who talk much of love will one day bite their tongues. On this matter, he was akin to you and your many darlings. No matter where you are, fall captive to the web of mortal desire?
Why bring me into this? True, I don't have the wits to break the web, but he had torn his way out since that day.
Oh, lion.
Take a look, Badger. Can you see? Many of your good friends are here.
We're just fair weather friends, that's all.
But they are still friends, aren't they?
So you say, so it must be. These old buddies. I think none of them ended up well.
Indeed. For ages, countless gifted souls have walked this earth. Yet of them, how few have forged everlasting greatness? Do you know why?
Injustice?
Never has it been just.
Misfortune?
Fortune is simply humility in the mighty.
Well, mayhaps. They simply lacked my charm.
Gifted they may be, yet strive they not. Content with little and lost in lust. Seek the ease, yet crave the renown. They yearn for freedom, yet aspire to Buddhahood. They always want both, yet nobody can and nobody should. Such was the folly of the Bull King and Wukong.
And then, like, just across the way, there's another boat that's bringing us in as well. Interesting.
You should mark well these words.
Hold on. This can't be Wukong's memory. You're fooling us, aren't you?
But
5 of the 6 relics call for one.
oh no, there's me. I'm there.
Tell me which.
Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Mind, it's mind.
What did you just see?
The 3 of us?
That was the last one.
Oh, I see now. It was you. I knew it from the beginning. You were the mind of Wukong all along.
Interesting.
Led us here.
Also, thank you, Sound Alerts, for alerting me so late that Ko the Yoshi spent 50 points to fart in my stream.
Him? He is Wukong.
Yes and no.
Cut to the chase, will you? We didn't come this far for your riddles.
After Wukong died, 5 of his 6 senses endured and were taken by the Yaoguai kings. Only his mind was lost. Mind is the first of the 6. It's the essence unique to every life. Therefore, it's destined to fade away at life's end.
Huh. So I guess my prediction at the start.
It's gone for good.
I guess my prediction at the start was right. Like we're, you know,
Bastard. You've been lying.
is like he's just a reflection of Wukong, like the
You will never
like the strand of hair that he normally brings out.
made him remains. The universe will always bear him a successor, one who shall carry on his name and nature. This chosen successor is the destined one. Nameless you were, yet perils and mighty foes you've braved to recover his relics. Your will now stands resolute, worthy of his power.
You mean this boy is to take Wukong's name? He's not.
Sun Wukong is long gone. But deep down, you know he wasn't all that perfect. Now that he is dead, this one perhaps shall bear the name in his stead.
And I'm guessing that there's the mind of Wukong.
Here, we can venture forth with you no further. This task is yours alone. Soon Wukong left behind a broken shell, stripped of all his six senses. Though ages have passed, it maintains a connection attuned to the echoes of his former self.
Uh-huh.
If you truly are the one destined, you must cast aside his soulless shell and merge the six into one. Then, you shall be the one to begin the journey anew.
No, not on his own. He's just a kid who knows nothing. I'll go with him.
This place is shaped by Wukong's lingering obsession. It allows only his
Oh yeah, he was called like a stone monkey or something like that before he got his name. Like he's literally born from stone.
no more. See it for yourself.
Hear me, son! You can always run! You don't have to bear Wukong's name!
Oh, this is gonna be tricky, isn't it? I am probably gonna fail at this one. Alright. Here we go. Oh, so get outside of his radius and get back. Oh, uh-oh, 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 ow, 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 fuck. Ass. There we go. Ooh. Oh, what the? That's not good. Ow. Oh, I don't have any magic, do I? Oh, wait, no, I do. Oh, interesting. Where the fuck? Ooh. There we go. Yeah, he puny god me. God damn, this stone monkey's strong. Is he getting bigger as well? I do not remember being only as big as his head. Ow. That was a good save. Nice. Ooh. That was honestly just impressive. What? Wait, how many of them is there? Like 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god! Nice. I wish I could do that in the fight! Oh, now there's a face. Like, what the... Oh, no. I don't know what those characters are saying. The Great Sage's broken shell. Ooh, boy. And I don't exactly have the, like, the gourd strength to get through this guy. Two. Oh, I'm doing it, chat! Oh, you ass! Yes! Come on! Come on! Come on! Oh, so beautiful! Monkey! 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's got our relics now. Alright. Fuck. Oh, you motherfucker! Ah, yes! I can... Get out of your circle, god damn you. 3, 2... Fuck you! Jesus Christ. Oh my god. No! Are you kidding me? No! That's mine! He drank my last one! Ow! Fuck you. Not exactly have all the stamina in the world to do what I want. Come on. Oh shit! No, 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 no. You... Damn it! Ah! The golden crown upon his head, clad in gold, maker, in hand the powerful wield, on feet the cloud treaders. Under my command, 47,000. Ah! Alright, so I got all 3 of those. I've got you. I'm gonna make 3 of you. I'm gonna go through quite a few of you. And then that tiger subduing. Alright. There we go. So that was a quick, easy one. Oh, there's no music at the thingy-madiggy. That's a shame. Alright. Skip over to where we were last off. He now has our relics. And we are gonna have a hard time. Oh, hello. Ding. Dong. Use that opportunity to... Alright, so that is increasing a decent amount of focus. Enhanced. Let's go with the normal level for now. And then... I don't know what's gonna happen when I activate... Let's do our Pluck of Many. Let's see what happens. Go. You barely have any reach when you're on the... Timing it wrong. Alright. Let's go with you. And then let's go for... Upon use, grants resurrection upon death before triggering a life-saving strand for a long duration. Let's go with you. Here we go, and then considerable amount of might. That's not gonna help us as much as this is. He eats a peach. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Get out of your ring, you mother... Thank Christ I used the life-saving strand because... Wait, no, hang on. No, that's not fair. I used it. Wait, is that not a... Was that outside the long... Oh my god. Pain. Alrighty, so... We're not using that one. We use you. We use you. And we use you. Fortifying pill. Tiger subduing. You already saw that. Ow, 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 ow. No, damn you. I shouldn't have... Get moving, get moving, get moving, get moving, get moving. Oh, and he gave me back my staff. That's why he was doing it. Come on, get over here. Alright. Evil repelling. 3, 2. No, you do not get some clones. Oh, gosh. Ow. Fuck you. Drink, 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 drink. Move, come on. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, that was a waste of a... I thought I... Yes! Oh, yes! Oh, I didn't realize how low down he was. And he didn't steal my gourd this time, thank goodness. Please don't have a third phase. It's over. Five senses back into one as they join with the sixth. 2, 3, 4, 5. One.
You must have heard tales about him.
2.
Some say he helped Tung Monk fetch the scriptures, was granted Buddhahood, and stayed on Mount Lingshan thereafter. Some say it was not him who was granted Buddhahood. The real him was already dead on the journey to the west.
What?
Some say that the journey never happened. He is nothing but a monkey who lives in some storyteller's tall tale. But now, you will hear a tale which no one has ever known.
That was the thingy-majiggy that was on his head to help. So, like, if the monk, like, ever got displeased with him, there would be, like, a magic phrase or some bullshit, and it would, like, you know, tighten on his head and give him a headache or some shit. Who are you, old monkey? How are you so wise? You're not the stone monkey. You're not the reflection. All that from within the amber. To be honest, you try focusing when someone's squeezing your head like he's gonna crack your skull. Yeah, that was the point. Is that if Wukong was gonna do something, you know, terribly wrong, then that, like, you know, band was gonna, like, bind over him even tighter and shit, and he couldn't take it off himself. The only way he could to get it off is if the monk let it off him or something with some sort of incantation. I think that's how the story goes. Wait, am I just stuck in the amber now, too? Sorted by order of participation in the project? Ah, that took a while. 2018, 2019, 2020. Oh, the list got real long in 2020. 2021. Oh. Oh, that's a lot of people. '22. I'm pretty sure that guy is just saying la. That's... So yeah, this was like 7 years in the making. Special thanks to the families of all our team members for their understanding and their support. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, this thing is kicking itself trying to... It's not having a great time trying to go through all this. Alright. So Sun Wukong was Lin. Erlang. The old monkey was Gao. Lin, Gong, Ma. Shen monkey was Li. Zhu dog was Fu. I'm gonna have to skip this, I'm sorry. It's like... It's not a consistent line. I feel like there's some sort of rendering nonsense going on in the background. The Destined One. You can now enter a new cycle and embark once again on the extraordinary journey to the west. In the new cycle, you will inherit the levels, talent, armors, weapons, spells, vessels, transforms, and spirit obtained in the previous cycle. However, be aware that story progress and the related key items shall be relinquished. Prepare yourself, for the adversaries you shall encounter on this expedition will pose even greater threat. Goodness fucking gracious. It does the Dark Souls thing of like, oh, do a new game plus for even greater challenge. It's like, no, I don't want the greater challenge. What happens if I click continue? Does it put me back into like, oh, ready to fight that fucker again? Also, we got this done in like relatively lickety-split time. 2.5 hours, damn. Where the fuck is this? Oh, Peak of Innocence. I see where I am. I see where I am. Different gourds hold varying amounts of wine. Some gourds are mythical treasures themselves, offering unique benefits. Neat. Is the village any different? But yeah. Should be. So, I think, quite honestly, that was probably one of my more fun Dark Souls likes. Maybe it's because I'm like, maybe it is a case of like just getting better with like the methodology and what have you. But this one I honestly liked story-wise and mystery. It wasn't like I had to read item descriptors to get a tell of like what we were doing and such. I like that there was direction. Hey, we can get ourselves some golden tree cores, some fine gold thread. Gonna get as many of those fine gold threads as I can. Sure. Because that thing never got used for anything. Non-pure. So that's the pilgrim head. And then this is the pilgrim garbs, which we can... There we go. When sprinting, small amounts of thingies. And then pilgrims... Yep, pilgrims like reds. Cool. So we've upgraded all but...
Now you seem a proper sort. Be on your way.
Alright, so... I liked it. You don't have anything for me, do you? Fuck it. Yeah, let's upgrade that gourd. Like, it's gonna do fucking anything for us. We can... If I had more of the worms, I'd definitely put it in towards this thing, but I don't. And then... Alright.
Down a few mouthfuls in one go. It's delightful.
You got anything for me?
Lord Lao, illuminate your
Always good to ask for more stuff. But yeah, I think that's it for us. I think that is going to be it. Look, I'm not a fan of doing New Game Plus, quite honestly, for like, you know, whatever sorts of dealio. I'm not that kind of Zeebs. You're not gonna find me go through a video game more than once for some weird reason, okay? Even if it, like, this is why I probably don't want to go through Nier Automata, because it's like, oh, you gotta go through that game, like, 4 times before you get the true ending. It's like, no, not interested. Fuck off with that nonsense. Although I might want to play Nier Automata, I'm not too sure if it's gonna be in my wheelhouse of, like, you know, actually going through it and what have you. Lord knows there are other games that I could be playing. And quite frankly, I do enjoy, like genres outside of the, you know, the action RPG stamina knife. Don't get into Drakengard then? Noted. Thank you, Jack. I will not get into Drakengard. I will stay the fuck away from that. Alrighty then. Let's... You know what? We're gonna call it... So we're gonna call it there, actually. We're gonna call it there. And we're gonna go and look for someone to raid. Let's see. Let's see. Actually, if I click on the raid browser, is it just gonna recommend to me like a whole ton of different people that are playing Black Myth Wukong? Yes, it is. Look, I like the raid browser sometimes, but I'm gonna be real with you, more often than not, I'm gonna go for people that I'm following. Or actually, no, similar or smaller size. I wish I could, like, negative the same category thing. I'm not interested in other people who have been playing Black Myth Wukong. Or am I? Am I or am I not? Let's... No English speakers. Grant, why can't I rate? Because I'm about to finish up in about an hour. Well, less than an hour. So there's a little option you can have in your creative dashboard, Trumpet Collins, where you can stop people rating you for an hour. So that's the trick. That's the trick, is I just have it so that while I'm in the... Didn't know about that. Yeah. So I went and did that, so then that way I wouldn't get in trouble. So then that way no one's going to raid into me while I'm trying to look for someone to raid to.
Hello.
Hello, Jin. Hello, Titty Man. Well, hi, welcome. I'm sorry to say, but I am going to be hopping offline. I don't know why this is recommended to me, but I'm going to say fuck it. We're going to go and raid into someone named Key Solar Storm. So they're going through what looks to be either COD Zombies or multiplayer from the looks of it. They look to be some massive fucking fur, like some fat fur. Or not a, not massive as in like content creator size. Massive as in like, you know, stonky unit kind of massive. So, we're gonna go for a classic himbo raid message if you want to join in with me and what have you. That is going to be our raid message as we go and raid into Key Solar Storm. And yeah, that's going to be it for tonight. I will be back online Wednesday. I have more Spyro Year of the Dragon to go through. I hope you'll all join in with me for that one. Check out my throne. I still have that, you know, walking pad, and if we do get to it and what have you, I'll organize the stream marathon, like, walking stream. Hello, Shotal. Everyone's coming along, and it's just sort of like, I'm gonna be raiding shortly. I'm so sorry. But yeah, if you're not gonna be, if you're not gonna be in on Wednesday, otherwise, I just want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I'm so glad to get done with Black Myth Wukong. It frees up my Monday to go through Dragon Age Veilguard more often. I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And otherwise, I will see you all next time. Bye for now. Remember, Himbo Raid,